All right, let's dive in, shall we? Today, it's all about that crucial moment in your legal career, the law firm interview. You aced the resume, got the call back, and now it's go time.
Yeah, that's the make or break moment for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And to give you that extra edge, we've been digging into this awesome YouTube video, like from a real legal career pro.
I've seen that one. It's packed with good stuff. It's not just the usual generic tips you see everywhere.
Right. This is tailored for law firms, the specific things they look for. So we're going to unpack all those common questions they throw at you.
And how to frame your answers really strategically.
Yeah.
We even found some seriously impressive sample answers in there.
Oh, yeah, stuff you can adapt and use yourself to make a real impact. But I think the biggest takeaway is that preparation is key.
Oh, for sure. But not just memorizing stuff parrot fashion. It's about truly understanding what they're getting at with each question.
So you can show them how your skills and personality are a perfect fit for what they're looking for.
Exactly. Okay, so let's jump right in with that classic opener, shall we? Tell me about yourself. Seems simple, right?
It does, but why is it so crucial in a law firm setting? What are they really looking for?
Well, think about it. It's your first impression. And in law, communication is everything. They're assessing how well you express yourself.
How confident you are and whether you can present yourself professionally, but also with a bit of personality, right?
Exactly. Law firms want someone who can command a room, be persuasive in court, but also someone who's engaging and personable.
That's a tough balance to strike.
It is. And this video had this great tip to subtly weave in skills from the job description. Mention your achievements that match what they're looking for.
Oh, to show you've done your homework, that you're specifically interested in them,
Right.
not just any old legal job.
Exactly. And there was this fantastic sample answer. It started with, "Thank you for this opportunity. Before applying, I studied the job description and researched the law firm to ensure I had the skills and knowledge to add value to the business."
Wow, that's strong right out of the gate. You're showing initiative, that you've gone the extra mile.
Right, you're not just a name on a resume, you're already thinking about how you'd contribute.
Okay, I'm hooked. What comes next?
But they highlight these key qualities. Right. I'm a commercially driven, attentive, trustworthy, and analytical. Insert the position with a track record of success.
Hitting all those buzzwords. Commercial awareness, attention to detail, trustworthiness, and backing it up by saying you've actually got a proven track record.
It's subtle, but it packs a punch. Those key words woven into a natural-sounding statement.
Okay, bring on the grand finale.
The closing is where it gets really interesting. They say something like, well, if I am successful in joining your law firm, I will adhere to all policies and procedures, set a good example to others, treat clients with respect while demonstrating professionalism, and implement your values in all my work.
It's like you're preempting any concerns they might have. I'm a team player. I understand your values. I'm ready to learn.
You've got it. You leave them with this impression of someone who's not just competent, but also a great cultural fit.
Tell me about yourself. Nailed it. But then comes another tricky one. What attracted you to this law firm? Why is this one so hard for people?
People fall into the trap of being too generic.
Yeah.
Like, oh, your reputation is great. Law firms want more.
You have to prove you really get what they're about, what makes them unique, right?
Exactly. The video suggested mentioning specifics like their track record in a particular area of law, awards they've won, insights from their social media even.
To show you've gone deeper than a quick glance at their website, that you're genuinely interested in them.
Precisely. And their sample answer was spot on. I researched this law firm before submitting my resume, and I was impressed with your track record of success, awards attained, and workplace values.
Straight to the point, specific and impactful.
You could even mention a case they won that you found impressive, or a pro bono initiative that resonates with your values. Something to show that connection.
Okay, now for a real curveball. Have you applied to other law firms? How do you answer honestly without, sabotaging yourself?
This one feels like a trap. But honesty is best, but framed the right way. The video actually gave two answers, depending on your situation.
Okay, let's break it down. What if this is the only law firm you've applied to?
Keep it simple and direct. Something like, no, this is the only law firm I have applied to work at. When applying for a law firm position, I believe it is important to focus all your efforts on one company at a time. Out of all the law firms advertising positions, yours is my first choice and the one I most want to work for.
You're showing commitment and making them feel valued. No messing around.
Right, but what if you have applied elsewhere? That's tougher to navigate.
Oh, yeah, that's tricky.
You can still frame it positively. Yes, I have applied to several law firms. However, your firm is my first choice and the one where the majority of my preparation and effort has been focused. Having researched this law firm extensively and having met some of the people who work here, I genuinely hope I receive an offer post-interview.
So you're being honest, but also emphasizing they're your priority.
Exactly. Now, for a question that really tests your legal knowledge, which law would you like to change and why? This one's daunting.
It is. It's not just about picking a random law. You have to show your understanding of the legal system, your ability to think critically, construct an argument.
It weeds out people who haven't really engaged with the field. And the video gave a really important warning. Steer clear of anything too controversial.
Oh, good point. You don't know the interviewer's views. You don't want to alienate them right away.
Exactly. Choose a law that's relevant to the firm's practice or their values, maybe a recent development in a specific area, or tie it to a social issue they support.
So you're showing your knowledge and proving you've done your research on what matters to them. Smart.
And it's not just about identifying flaws, it's about suggesting improvements, solutions, showing you're proactive. Now, video actually gives 3 sample answers here.
Okay, this I gotta hear. What's the first one?
The first focuses on mandatory minimum sentencing laws. They argue that sometimes, these laws can be disproportionate to the crime.
Leading to overcrowded prisons, not taking individual circumstances into account.
Right, and they suggest reforming these laws to allow for more rehabilitation, reduce those negative societal impacts.
Really relevant and timely issue. You're not just thinking textbook law, but the real-world consequences. What's the next example?
This one's about immigration laws, specifically family reunification. Simplifying the process, reducing those bureaucratic hurdles.
To help keep families together, especially crucial for kids' well-being.
Exactly. It speaks to compassion, understanding the human impacts of legal policies. And the final one is fascinating.
Lay it on me.
Data privacy laws. They argue that these need an update to offer stronger protection for people's information online.
Oh, that's so relevant today.
Absolutely. Enhancing these laws could prevent data breaches, misuse of data, build more trust online. 3 very different areas, but all showcase critical thinking.
You can identify a problem, analyze it, offer a potential solution. Those are essential skills for any lawyer. Okay, now let's move on to a question that feels a bit more straightforward. What are your greatest strengths? Time to shine, right?
It is, but there's strategy here too. The video stresses tailoring your strengths to the job description and the firm's values.
Not just listing off generic strengths, but showing how your skills will benefit them, connecting the dots.
Right. Their example answer was, my greatest strengths are a good match for the law firm job description. I'm commercially aware and understand, in basic terms, how a law firm operates. In my work, I must focus on attracting new and repeat clients, delivering outstanding service, and helping the business gain increased exposure.
Right off the bat, that link between your strengths and their needs.
Exactly. And then they go on to list specifics, attention to detail, communication, teamwork, things law firms love.
I can picture the interviewer nodding along thinking, yep, this is what we need.
And they even mention staying up to date on legal developments, so you're showing that dedication to continuous learning.
Always valuable. How do they wrap it up?
By highlighting analytical skills, research abilities, and a focus on getting the best results for client and the employer. You're well-rounded, client-focused, results-driven.
Greatest strengths done. But now, for the dreaded flip side, what is your biggest weakness? This one's tough.
It is, because you're tempted to give those cliche answers like, I'm a perfectionist or I work too hard, but the video says those backfire.
They sound fake, right? So honesty is key. But how do you pick a weakness that won't make them run for the hills?
You pick something genuine, but frame it in a way that shows self-awareness, that you're working on it. You're not just admitting a flaw, you're showing growth.
Okay, I'm curious, how did they handle this one?
The example they gave was, my biggest weakness is I find it difficult to find a healthy work-life balance. I love my job, but often find that I work longer hours than I should. For example, when I'm on holiday, I can't help but log on to do some work. While they support me, my partner has often commented on the number of hours I work. Although I will always be fully committed to my work, I must learn to take time out to ensure I am fully rested and energized.
It's a real weakness. A lot of people struggle with that, especially in demanding jobs.
You're giving context, you're showing you're aware of the impact, and you're saying you're taking steps to manage it, turning that negative into a positive.
That's clever. Okay, now for a question that's crucial for any lawyer, tell me about a time you used your ability to negotiate.
This is where you show off those negotiation skills that are essential in law. The video recommended the STAR method to structure your answer.
Situation, task, action, result. Love that framework. It keeps you focused, ensures you hit all the key points.
They used the example of a client who wanted a big discount on fees, something most lawyers will face at some point.
Okay, I'm ready to hear how they navigate this one. What did the answer look like?
They said, in a previous law firm job, a client requested a significant discount on our fees. I explained to the client that the fee level was appropriate for the work requested. I explained how partners in the firm were highly qualified and focused on the level of attention and expertise they would receive. I further explained that while they could easily find a cheaper law firm to conduct the work on their behalf, my company's track record was exemplary. By explaining the benefits to the client, particularly the level of service and attention to detail they would receive, they quickly agreed to pay the full fee.
STAR method in action. You set the scene, the challenge, the steps you took, and the positive outcome. It's not just saying, I'm good at negotiating, you're proving it.
You're showing your communication skills, your ability to build rapport, understand client needs. Okay, ready for our final challenge.
Hit me.
How would you handle a situation where 3 partners simultaneously request work to be completed by 5 p.m.? Nightmare scenario.
It is. But it also tests your prioritization, your problem solving under pressure. How do you handle conflicting demands, manage your time, stay professional when things get crazy?
The video stressed staying calm, taking a strategic approach. First, gather all the info. How urgent is each task? What exactly do they need? What are the consequences if deadlines are missed?
You can't start prioritizing until you have the full picture. Knowledge is power.
Right. Then communication is key. Be transparent with each partner. Explain the situation. Negotiate deadlines where you can. Maybe reallocate tasks, or even ask for help from colleagues if the workload is too much.
It's about teamwork, collaboration, knowing when to ask for support. Love that.
Then it's about execution. Prioritize based on urgency and importance. Make a plan to manage your time. To-do lists, project management tools, whatever works for you.
You've got a system, you can stay on track even when things get hectic. But what if, even then, you can't meet all the deadlines?
That's where honesty and proactivity come back in. Talk to the partners. Explain the situation. Propose solutions. Maybe delegate some tasks. Request an extension. Or ask your supervisor for guidance on prioritization.
It's about being realistic, knowing your limits, but also being solution-oriented. I like how the video walks you through that whole thought process.
And the final piece of advice was to reflect afterwards. What worked well? What could you do differently? Continuous learning, always a plus.
Wow, we've covered so much. This video is like a masterclass in law firm interview strategy. Preparation and strategic thinking can really set you apart. But before we move on, there's one crucial element we haven't touched on yet. The questions you should ask at the end. It's not just about them assessing you, it's your chance to assess them.
So true. It's a two-way street, and those questions can make all the difference. You know, it's easy to get so focused on, like, impressing them that you forget the interview is also about you.
Yeah, deciding if the firm is actually the right fit for you.
Exactly. It's got to be a two-way street. Like, are your skills and what you want to do a match for what they need? Does the culture fit?
It's like dating, you know? You're both trying to see if you're compatible.
Totally. And that's where asking smart questions at the end is so important. It's not just showing you're curious, it's getting the info you need.
The video gave 3 really strong questions to start with. The first one was, what advice would you give to the successful candidate who wants to excel as a war? Insert the position at this law firm. Why is that such a good one?
Well, on the surface, it shows you're ambitious, you're already thinking about success,
Yeah.
but it also makes the interviewer tell you what they value.
So you get a peek behind the curtain. What do they really want in an employee? What are the skills, the personality traits?
And you're showing you're eager to learn, that you take initiative. Qualities any firm would love.
Okay, what's the next power question?
This one's about the people.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little more about the partners and support staff I would work alongside at this firm?
It's easy to forget about that human element, but team dynamics are so important.
No, for sure. And it shows you get that you value collaboration. You're not just in it for yourself.
You want to be part of a positive environment. Okay, what about the last question they suggested?
This is my favorite. What's the one thing I can do in this role to help your law firm succeed? Bold, right?
It is. It's not just about doing the job. It's about making a real impact. You're thinking big picture.
You're ambitious, strategic. And it lets the interviewer share their vision for the role, how it fits into the firm's goals.
It's like saying, I'm not here to just punch a clock. I'm here to be part of something bigger.
And you leave him with that impression of someone who's proactive, engaged, invested in the firm's success. Perfect way to end the interview strong.
I'm amazed by how much strategy goes into just asking questions. It's not just about getting info, it's showcasing your personality, your fit.
Like a game of chess, right?
Mhm.
Each move matters, and those questions can be your checkmate.
This video has been a gold mine. Specific answers, how to frame things, the psychology behind it all.
But beyond the tactics, the big message is preparation is everything.
Yeah, you can't just wing it. You gotta research the firm, understand what law firm interviews are like, tailor your response.
Show them you get them, that you're not just qualified, but you're a perfect fit for their team, their culture.
Okay, I'm convinced. Preparation is queen. What are some key takeaways for our listeners, though? What should they really remember?
First, law firm interviews are different. They want specific skills, personality traits. Do your homework on the firm, understand their values, tailor your answers.
Don't just give those generic answers. Everyone else is doing that.
Right. Second, practice, practice, practice. The more comfortable you are, the more confident you'll sound. But don't be robotic. Let your personality come through.
Find that balance between professional and genuine.
And lastly, don't underestimate those questions you ask at the end. They show you're engaged, curious, and they give you valuable info on whether they're the right fit for you.
This deep dive has been so insightful. We've gone from intimidated to feeling like we can handle these interviews with confidence.
It's amazing what a little prep and strategy can do. But before we wrap up, there's one thing the video touched on briefly: the follow-up email. Often overlooked, but it can make a difference.
Oh, tell me more. What makes a good follow-up email?
First, thank them for the interview, of course. Reiterate your enthusiasm for the job, the firm. Mention something specific you learned or enjoyed during the conversation.
Shows you were paying attention or really engaged.
They also recommended subtly reminding them of your qualifications, how your skills match their needs.
Hey, remember all that great stuff we talked about? I'm still that person.
Exactly. And finally, end with a call to action. Say you're eager to hear from them. Reiterate your interest in the opportunity.
Keep the momentum going. Show you're actively pursuing the role. It's amazing how these little things matter.
It's a holistic approach, covering all the bases to set you up for success, from applying to that final email.
I feel like we've uncovered so many secrets to nailing these interviews. But beyond the practical stuff, what's the one piece of advice you'd give someone who's feeling nervous about this whole process?
Remember, it's not just about getting any job. It's about finding the right job, the one where you can thrive, where you can really make a difference.
It's got to be aligned with your values, your skills, your goals, right?
Exactly. And sometimes those interviews, they're about self-discovery as much as impressing them.
Learning about yourself, what you're passionate about, what kind of environment brings out your best.
And maybe that shift in perspective, it'll lead you not just to a job, but to a career you're truly excited about.
That's a great way to think about it. It's the journey, not just the destination.
So to our listener, as you prep for those interviews, be confident, be authentic, and be open to what might come.
This deep dive has given you the tools to shine. Now go out there and rock those interviews. You know, it's interesting. We always talk about proving ourselves in interviews, but you're right. It's a two-way thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to be a match. Your skills, what you want, that's got to line up with their needs, the firm's culture.
And sometimes that means looking deeper. What if a firm seems great, but then in the interview, something feels off?
Yeah. Those gut feelings, those can be red flags.
Like how they talk about work-life balance or the team dynamics. Those little things can tell you a lot.
It's about whether you'd actually be happy there long term. More than just, does this job sound good on paper?
Right, exactly.
I think a lot of people, especially new grads, they get caught up in the prestige, the big names, the salary.
I can just get into this firm, I'll be set. That kind of thinking.
But what if the culture's toxic? What if their values are totally different from yours?
It's like forcing yourself into shoes that don't fit. Might look good from the outside, but it's going to hurt.
Exactly. So it's so important to do that deeper assessment. What kind of place will you actually thrive in?
And those questions you ask at the end, they help with that. It's not just about the job, it's about the firm's soul, almost.
Yeah, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you.
Speaking of which, the video also talked about that follow-up email. Why is that so important, after the interview's done?
It's easy to get lost, so many applicants. A good follow-up that keeps you top of mind, shows you're really interested.
That extra effort, that personal touch.
They even gave a sample email, short and sweet, but it hits all the right points.
Oh, I love a good template. What were the key things they said to include?
First, thank them for the interview, of course. Then say how excited you are about the job, the firm. Mention something specific you learned or that you liked from the conversation.
Shows you were listening, that you were really present.
Right. And then just briefly remind them of your qualifications, how your skills match what they need.
Like, hey, remember all that great stuff we talked about? I'm still that person.
Exactly. And finally, a clear call to action. Say you're looking forward to hearing from them. Reiterate your interest.
Keep the momentum going. Show you're serious about the opportunity. It's crazy how these little things make a difference.
It's true. This whole deep dive has changed how I think about these interviews. It's not just about surviving them. It's about being strategic, being yourself.
Finding that right fit for you and D for them.
And taking that pressure off. Honestly, it's not about proving yourself. It's about a real conversation, seeing if there's a connection.
This video was amazing. We got a real behind-the-scenes look at what firms want and how to show them what we got.
Like having a cheat sheet almost.
So to our listener, as you go into those interviews, remember, prep is key, be authentic, and those questions at the end, those are your moment.
Don't just answer ASK. Be curious, explore your options, and trust that the right thing will come along.
This has been such a great deep dive. Thanks for joining us. And to everyone listening, best of luck out there in the legal world.